Hello and welcome to Between Sessions. I'm Shauna Wilder, licensed professional counselor and certified holistic sex therapist. And I know what you're thinking, but no, I didn't have the best sex last night. And with me as always is Sid the producer.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, Sid. How's it going?
It's going. There's more world news going on, and I'm living in it.
At an accelerated rate.
Accelerated rates.
Exponential.
Gas prices are coming very quickly.
Yes. Speaking of coming quickly, this is not a very good time to be a sex therapist. News-wise,
Why?
it's rough. It's rough. It's very unsexy.
You act.
Like, listen, economically, not so sexy. Epstein files every other day, something popping out, not sexy.
Reading about sexual abuse of children isn't sexy.
Shouldn't be. I'm just going to say that. If that turns you on, go report yourself.
There's a lot of reasons for divorce.
Yes.
Number one reason for divorce is finances. So our economy's there.
Okay.
Second is reading the Epstein files and getting turned on. Now that is now the second number two reason for divorce.
Third is being on the Epstein files.
Yeah, being on the Epstein files should be number one.
Yeah.
And it should be number one.
Should be.
We should start there.
But I mean, prevalence-wise, economy is very not fun.
It affects everyone.
I mean, like people, like it's harder to travel, like flying lately, passports, that's a whole boondoggle.
Yeah.
People are having to shelter in place.
The real IDs.
In resorts, real IDs, passports are difficult. Like, you know what I mean? So it's just not a very sexy time, right? In the news.
Not a lot of ways to be sexy in this time.
This is also why I can't do a segment on sex in the news. You don't want that right now. You don't want that.
I mean, we couldn't really do it that much before either.
I don't know. Every now and then a Florida man thing pops out. That's
John
pretty good.
Stamos still exists.
It's true.
Like, no matter how bad the world gets, if John Stamos stops existing, sex is done.
We're screwed. Yeah.
Done.
Well, like you mentioned in the last episode, there's the whole heated rivalry thing, I suppose. That's sexy news. But that's also just like entertainment. That's
Canadian news also.
That's not
it's not
really
American
news. Oh, and even the hockey teams, the men's Olympic hockey team versus the women's Olympic hockey. Again, you know, that whole like macho, we don't like the women thing. Like, that's not sexy. Nobody likes that. What would be sexy is if you were like, cool, yay, we're so happy for them. Everybody wins.
So if you haven't watched Heated Rivalry, there is a woman. There are two beards in that show, and they are still treated very well.
Yeah, you don't have to be mean.
You don't have to be a dick because you like dick.
That's
like, just be okay.
Let's put that on a t-shirt. You don't have
that's
to be
my
a
new
dick
hat.
because you like dick.
You don't have to be a dick because you like dick. You guys are welcome for that.
That's great.
That is my new phrase.
Dropping bombs.
All over the place. Well, Heated Rivalry dropped the bomb. I was just there to pick it up.
That was a big one.
It's fine.
All right, what do we got going today?
Today we've got two emails.
Yes.
And one voicemail.
All right.
And we are going to start with a voicemail.
Okay, cool.
So that's going to be cool. Nice little change up. I don't have to read this one.
Let's see what's up.
So I think my wife and I are headed for divorce due to a dead bedroom. I feel though it's a really personal topic and pretty embarrassing to talk to our parents about. And it's most likely going to come to a shock to a lot of people because we're both conventionally attractive and would seem to have the perfect marriage. My therapist has stated that we don't have to tell anyone why, but our closest friends and family will be curious and, you know, probably pry down the road after we've had time to heal from the divorce. So what's a good way to explain this to someone when they ask?
Oh, that's a good idea.
Oh.
What can be your cover story for the no fault divorce?
The essential fallback is always we grew apart, right? I mean, you can keep it vague.
We wanted different things.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, we wanted very different things. My wife wanted to be left alone and I wanted sex. Yeah, that's very different. You know.
That is the argument.
I always used to love the old joke. We divorced for religious reasons. My husband thought he was God, and I disagreed.
It's been a while.
I love that one.
It's been a while. What do you do in a dead bedroom?
What do you do in a dead bedroom?
Like, how do you like?
So first of all, he's already in therapy, so he's got that on his side.
That's not like an easy thing to come across.
No, it's not. It's not. But he mentioned he's in therapy. He didn't say our therapist. He said my therapist.
Oh.
So that leads me to believe that part of the reason that they are at the divorce juncture is because the wife is not willing to address it. Dun, dun, dun.
I like that.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to blame her.
That's what.
This is where I'm going to be today.
Yeah. You've decided to blame the women this time.
Yeah, this one.
Okay.
I mean, it's the only one I know has a therapist, but it's also very male to not give the details of whether your wife is going to therapy or not.
A surprising, okay, that's fair. But a surprising number of women don't want to sit in a room with a therapist and talk about why they're not having sex. Like a surprising number of women want to just avoid it altogether and let it lapse, unfortunately, into what we have going on here.
Are these the women that just aren't satisfied in their marriage in other ways, and this is just one more thing?
No. These are just women who've just decided, like, I don't like sex. I don't want it. We shouldn't have to have it. And they will be sometimes very, very angry that their male partners still want to be having sex.
Without a conversation.
Oh, well, they don't want to have the conversation. Yeah. It's crazy, but I see it all the time.
Why don't they want to have the conversation? I feel like
because they just have
I
an
guess
avoidance, the stigma, all the above. Yes.
He even said, it's like, what are people going to say about this? Be like, I mean, you don't have to tell anybody anything about your marriage.
You don't. However, I feel like with a lot of your closest friends, maybe not your parents. He said parents in there. And I was like, why would you be telling your parents?
This is going to be easy to explain to my parents. You're like, you're going to tell your parents you're not getting any? I
don't know what your family dynamics are, but that's an interesting one. If you're telling your parents about your bedroom activities, wouldn't be a choice I would make, really, but whatever.
Especially if you've been having a dead bedroom situation.
Yeah.
Like, are you keeping them up to date? So
however, it does make me think that maybe there's some like conservative Christian something maybe going on in there, right?
Maybe.
Like there might be some cultural or religious reasons that people would wonder, okay, so what happened? And especially parents, like especially if parents aren't divorced. So they might be wondering like, well, so what's the explanation? And I think, honestly, if you have a good relationship with these people and you trust them to be safe people to tell things to, you can very straightforwardly say, yeah, a lot of things were great, but that was where we came to an impasse.
And that's a pretty big impasse.
It is. It is. It determines a lot about your happiness in life. It determines a lot about how bonded you feel together, how connected you are as a couple. A lot of times it's, people's favorite hobby to do with their favorite person. And so to have that missing in a relationship where everything else is great, also for him saying we're conventionally attractive, that's kind of interesting that he chose that to throw in there, but whatever. And saying relatively young, I think it's going to be startling to a lot of people that a young couple where everything else looked really good couldn't get past this thing. And it's embarrassing probably to have to admit, like, yeah, I married someone who ultimately didn't want to have sex with me to the point of divorce. Like that feels very vulnerable to say to somebody.
That's very.
Yeah.
But it's not, if anything that I've known from this is from doing this, it's never just the bedroom.
No.
Like there's so many other things that have to go right for the bedroom to work.
Yes. It is, but you also now realize that there's so many things that people have to work on to get the bedroom to go right.
Right.
So imagine this. Okay, so he doesn't want to say, oh, well, we split up because we weren't having sex. Because on the one hand, maybe that looks like the person who wanted to have the sex like an asshole. Like I trashed my entire perfectly good relationship just because we weren't having sex. On the other hand, if you tell people, well, we split up because we weren't having sex, it makes them look like, oh, well, I was rejected so severely by somebody who gave me all of this other stuff that then I look like a pathetic person and then had to divorce. So either way you slice it, I see kind of in his head why it would be dicey to tell people this.
Sounds like he's got a lot of questions that probably need answers.
Yeah.
Because the idea of it just being like the dead bedroom is the reason we're getting a divorce is very hard for me to swallow. Not that I don't think it's grounds for divorce. I know that there's lots of I mean, what were they? Lavender marriages for a
Yep.
very, very long
Yep.
time in history.
Well, let's take this option, right? Let's consider, because, we have people call in and that's great and we love that, but it's this much of a person's life
Right.
that we get to see, right? So let's play this out a slightly different way. Because one of the couples that I see super often in my office
Mhm.
is the relationship where the guy thinks everything's great. Everything else is great. There's this one thing missing. And then what we see often is that one thing, which is sex, is missing because to the wife, not everything is so great,
Mhm.
right? So he might be thinking, this is it. This is the only thing. And to her, she's like, that one thing is a manifestation of all of these other larger things. So if we had these two people separately, what they would tell people about why they divorced might be very, very different.
And it could be something as easy as just your approach to how you bring yourself to sex. It could be something as easy as not leaving dishes. Like,
Yep.
how do you expect me to become sexy if there are dishes in the, like, not being run? Like, if I have to clean your toilet every other day,
Yeah.
right?
It could be something like, you don't actually want to have a conversation with me, so therefore I don't want to have sex with you.
Yeah. Totally
But
reasonable.
to him, it might be fine or an otherwise perfect marriage if we're not actually having conversations, right? Like, let's say he's a dismissive avoidant,
Mhm.
right? That like, that's great. I didn't want to talk to you in the first place, but I do want to have sex. Like, so to him, that idea of what an ideal marriage is would be,
Sounds like both of them.
yeah, very different from hers.
Right.
Yeah. So my suggestion would be, you're going to have to be truthful with the people that it matters. However, the people that it's going to matter is a very, very small number of people. And you just need to, you can find a place to be truthful about it. Also, if you do continue on with therapy, which I hope that you do, you might come to realize that there was a lot more reasons besides just the dead bedroom. So the point at which you actually talk to somebody outside about this, like family, friends, something like that, the point at which you do that, your reasoning as to why we divorced might evolve as well. So mentioning that also, by the way, that we didn't have sex, that's just one of many reasons maybe at that point in time. But I will say, I think that there's a lot of, I don't want to say stigma because I feel like I use that term too much, but there's a lot of, I don't know what else to call it, stigma against saying that sex in a relationship is important. And if it is to you, and if that became the stumbling block that you two couldn't get past, that is your truth. And the people that care about you should care to hear it and handle that appropriately. I just hope you have good discernment on that one.
And it's still a need.
Yes.
You have a need.
Yeah.
Admit it to yourself that that is something that you do need in a relationship, and that can be something that can enter. It's an important enough issue that it can actually end a relationship, and it's not it's not fault, right? Like it could happen to anybody.
Absolutely.
So
yeah. Also, all of those external factors about like being young and being conventionally attractive, like you would think that would trend in a good direction for whether or not we're going to have an active sex life as a couple, but apparently not. As you said, it can happen to anybody. It's not necessarily a function of age or socioeconomic status or location or anything like that, or even necessarily communication styles or upbringing or something like that. It's something that almost any couple can lapse into at almost any point in time. So
I like to think of it as everyone is attractive to someone. And sometimes what you think is the most attractive about a person, or you find something that's attractive about a person, can be something that you're attracted to as a partner and not as a sexual partner.
Yeah.
Right. Like you can have a platonic partnership in the sense of there are things I love about you. Like my best friends I've had for long time. There's so many things I love about them.
Yeah.
But I'm not dating them.
That's true.
Like we're not married.
Yep.
For a reason.
Very different vibe.
Right. We have totally different expectations of when it comes to the bedroom. We have totally different expectations of what we like, what we don't like.
Yeah.
And
it can be very strange when you talk to your friends about what they like sexually.
Yeah, you'll be shocked if you actually are having open and honest conversations,
Really?
especially as a guy. I've listened to how women talk about it.
I think women are way more detailed than men.
Of course.
Oh yeah. Men are just like, we did it.
They suggest weird things. Like they're like, hey, I tried this the other night. You should definitely try this. And I'm like, what is?
I don't know about
what are
that.
these words? Yeah, my friend's like, I got it.
No,
Like,
you
did
don't.
you? Did you?
I don't think I got it.
Like if I call her right now, would she say she got it?
Yeah. No, probably not.
Probably not.
She got something.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's what she got.
She was very sleepy.
All right, it's time for your favorite segment.
Let's do it.
Ah, okay. Now it's time for the desired data, the lab coat lowdown, the citation sensation. It's time for Science Says, where we see what science has to say about sex.
What does science say?
So what do you think is better, spontaneous sex or planned sex?
For me, spontaneous.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Why? Gives you less time to get psyched out about it?
Yep. Stays out of my head. Because if I have to like,
How did I know?
if it has to go like 2 days in, and I'm like, all right, you gotta get prepared for this. You gotta be in the thing.
All right, it's go time.
It's go time.
Come on.
But
You're in there slapping
I
yourself
always
in the
have a
mirror.
little bit of anxiety if I think it can happen at any time, instead of a lot of bit of anxiety of it happening right then.
Okay. I'll take that. In 2025, an experimental study from York University directly challenged the Western ideal of spontaneous sex, particularly for busy parents. Researchers worked with over 500 parents of young children. One group was given information on the benefits of planned sex and encouraged to schedule it. At the 2-week follow-up, 2 weeks,
That's it.
this group reported having had more sex overall and, importantly, felt less obligated to have sex compared to the control group.
Really?
Yeah, so it kind of speaks a little bit to that anxiety that you're
Mhm.
talking about. This suggests that planned consensual sex, keyword,
Consensual.
can be a practical and positive tool for couples to maintain intimacy. The findings on planned sex offer a practical, evidence-based strategy for couples struggling to find time for intimacy. The huge study on desire can also help people understand that fluctuations in desire are normal and influenced by a wide range of factors, not just relationship health, which is what we were just kind of talking about.
Yeah.
Look at that.
There's so many other things that go into it.
Exactly. So why I love this is for a therapist, this seems almost like duh, right? Kind of research. But this is one of the first times that I've seen actual research evidence that shows that setting aside intentional time for sex actually betters the couple. I know.
Because they still see it as valuable.
Exactly.
I mean, it's really what it comes
Yeah.
down to is you're making that time.
This is something that I recommend to people constantly, but it comes with a big asterisk. It comes with a big heavy dose of warning about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the idea of planning sex can, like you said, kind of like take some of the pressure off in everyday life. The great thing about that is then the couple can be flirty, fun, spontaneous, whatever, and they don't have to feel that every time somebody slaps your ass, it means they're demanding sex, right?
True.
So it takes that perception of pressure off. I know we're only supposed to have sex Wednesday at 8, right? So if he slaps my ass, Thursday morning at 11, it's not going to happen.
He's getting ready for the whole week.
I can just have fun with it,
Yeah.
right? Also, we plan all of the important things in our lives and we show up for them accordingly. Why sex needs to be different or why that's unsexy, I have no idea. The one little bugaboo, the asterisk to it, is that doesn't mean that Wednesday at 8 p.m., we get in there, drop your drawers, let's go, we're doing it now. Really what it means is we're actively, intentionally setting aside time to connect, whatever that means. I heavily need to encourage couples to say, like, it means that we're going to be open to experiencing pleasure. If that leads to the big hokey pokey, great.
If it doesn't,
great. We have at least mastered the skills of turning off the outside world, turning off all the brakes, and allowing ourselves to just experience pleasure with our partner in a connected way. And that does lead to more sex.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go.
That's
my research for the day.
jaw-dropping.
Jaw-droppingly simple.
Who knew that planning intimacy was so helpful to the average consumer?
Especially people, but it makes me wonder what that other group got. If one group got this messaging on planning sex, what did the other group get? Nothing? Messaging about spontaneous sex? I don't know. They didn't say. That's interesting. If you want to check this out, as always, we will have the citations in the show notes for this, so you can check the research. I come with receipts. All right.
We're definitely coming. So next I have a Chloe.
Okay.
Sent an email.
Yeah. All right.
That seems very brief, so I'm very excited about this one.
Good.
All right.
You get a short little passage there for
I
you.
still have to bump it up so I don't squint as
I'll
hard.
do the next one for you.
Yes.
Will that be fair?
Yeah, and then I'll stand there and be...
You can critique my pronunciation. Exactly.
Okay, Chloe says, I'm so angry and hurt, I don't know what I should do.
Uh-oh.
My husband and I have been in couples therapy for a few months now, and for some reason I cannot comprehend. He gave his mother access to our therapy. What?
Jesus. Why? What?
He said she made, quote unquote, him sign the release. What?
Oh, no. No. Monster-in-law, no.
That's a terrible. Why is she in your relationship? Okay. Anyway, we are far from minors. Far from minors? How far from minors? She then divulged our very sensitive information from the sessions to other family members, and then they started calling him, asking questions about it.
No. This is not how this works. This isn't how any of this works.
Even with a signature, shouldn't the therapist not be giving this information?
Yeah, no, exactly. That's listen. Let's finish the email,
let's get to the end
and then
of
we'll
this.
just because this is a massacre. What are we talking about?
I have never felt so violated in my life.
Well, no
True.
kidding. Holy cow.
True. With every right you have.
Every ounce of my being.
Not only was my privacy violated by my own partner and his mother, but was broadcast to other people that I don't even know.
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do now? I feel like I can't go back to therapy, and I feel like that was my only hope to repair this marriage. I'm going to be honest with you. I agree.
With what?
I think that was
it?
That was it. That was
the nail in the coffin?
End. Yeah, I feel that was the only hope for our marriage. Yeah, that was probably the only hope to repair your marriage.
Probably.
For sure.
Okay, so back to your question. So first of all, the only way a therapist could release information about a joint therapy session is if both, ethically,
here,
is if both people sign the release for mother-in-law. Okay?
Oh, so she'd have to do it too because it's her information too.
Right.
Yikes.
The only end run around that at all, and it's a very bad one, and I would never do it if I was that therapist.
Right.
Is if mother was ever in the room.
No, I was about to say, is it too much to ask for the mother to be in the room in the therapy session? Because
too much to ask.
She already knows. She's already in on it. Let's ask her opinion.
No, her opinion is gone. There's no more mother-in-law.
Sounds like the mother-in-law and the son need to be in that therapy session.
But that's what I'm saying. So if at any point the mother-in-law joined in on the therapy, the therapist may think, okay, well then the therapeutic umbrella covers all of these people who have sat on this couch together. I did not say it was good. Right. That's not good thinking. Right. Okay. I still would not if you are the mother-in-law and you come in for one session, but I've been seeing them for 50 sessions, you only get information about that one session. I'm not signing a release for you to do all of the other stuff.
Nor should you.
And mother-in-law or husband, but I guess she's asserting mother-in-law, would have had to call back to the therapist to and
make that point.
Ask, request things, right? This is one of those Reddit stories where everyone's an asshole.
The wife isn't an asshole.
No, true. The therapist is definitely in the wrong. The husband is super duper in the wrong.
Right.
The mother-in-law, super duper in the wrong. Mm-hmm. Yeah, everybody but the wife basically is an asshole. This is bad. This is very bad. This is reportable bad. Honestly, this person should report this therapist to the state board. What? They're going to investigate.
I agree.
Like, if they come up with nothing, they come up with nothing.
Right.
But this is terrible, what happened.
If it is nothing, it is nothing.
Exactly. But if it is something, they get censored, they get remediation, you know, and hopefully this never happens to anybody else again, because this is horrifying. But I would say, don't focus too heavy on the mother-in-law, right? Like, this was your husband's doing.
Yeah, there was one person who signed that paper.
Unless there was a gun involved and she held the pew-pew to his head. Even then, he had a choice to not let this happen. So for him to sit there and say, she made me do it, this is a man who's not used to taking responsibility. And this is where you have to hold.
I bet that's resonating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is where you have to hold him to accountability, right? And then, you can't return to therapy. Not with this therapist.
Especially not with this therapist.
Not with another therapist, though. How do you take that weak-ass dude back into therapy knowing that he just opened the door to the bedroom to tell all the secrets to mother-in-law?
Yeah, because he's definitely going to tell the mom, whatever they say in that room.
That's horrifying. Also, go back to the thing that you always say. You can't tell me this is the first time.
Nope.
You can't tell me that you haven't had other issues with an overweening mother-in-law encroaching in places she should not be.
I bet that's why you're there.
This is not, yeah.
And the therapist knows that too.
And how do you live with that? Right? Because if he can't defend the therapy space where y'all are trying to work on your marriage, he's not going to defend anything else to his mother.
Right.
He's not going to hold any kind of boundaries with this woman.
He hasn't already.
No, that's what I'm saying.
You're not going to grow the boundaries.
But so he hasn't probably in the past. He's not doing it now. How would you ever think he would do it in the future? What do I have to explain to someone that therapy is sacred? You shouldn't have done that. That's not something that you should have to walk through with a grown man. That's evident. That is evident in the confidentiality disclosure that the therapist says and that you sign in the very beginning of therapy. Period. And if he obviously was not honoring that disclosure, but like he was opening confidentiality more than the therapist. Like, I blame him over and above anybody else.
Absolutely.
Mother-in-law is just going to mother-in-law. This woman's been a bitch. She's going to be a bitch forever. And he's not going to protect you from it.
He's opening the gate for those boundaries right through. You
have no safety with this man.
No.
I hate to tell you, but it is time to probably just start packing your stuff and getting out. I don't see how you come back from this. I don't see how you come back from this breach of trust.
Yeah. How do you repair this?
I don't know.
You start with a weekend away? No, everything's going to go back to her. Like,
yeah.
This sounds like this was day one stuff. Like, your mother's, there's no boundaries. You need to establish boundaries with your mother.
This man needs to be put in single man timeout for him to ever learn this lesson. And that's not something you wait on. But he's not going to learn it if you stay. He's going to learn that I can screw up and then beg for forgiveness, and then we're done. So no.
It's true.
It's time for the vibe check.
Vibe check.
This is where Sid and I review sexual and mental wellness items and ask, does it do the thing?
Does it do the thing?
Today we have another one of my favorite books to recommend to people, ADHD After Dark.
This one I have not read.
Ari Tuckman. No, you have not. However, it's kind of written about you.
Nice.
Like,
great.
You'd like it. You'd really like it.
Probably should.
So this book is yet another like delightfully nerdy kind of like resource for people.
Mm-hmm.
Ari Tuckman did a lot of research into interviewing couples who have ADHD. Couples where both people do, couples where one person does and the other person doesn't. And broke out his research findings also by gender. So he talks about neurotypical men and women and ADHD men and women and how they interplay in relationships. The book describes many effects of ADHD on couples' sex lives and happiness, covering areas such as negotiating sexual differences, performance problems, low desire, porn, making time for sex, infidelity, and much more. It even has several chapters dedicated to communication, which also can be difficult for people with ADHD.
Super hard.
Yeah. And this book outlines key principles for a great sex life for couples with ADHD and offers strategies and treatment interventions where specific issues arise.
I would love to know how to deepen your desire with ADHD.
Exactly. This is one of my favorite parts. And also, by the way, when I say delightfully nerdy, like it's like I said, built on heavy research, but the way he writes it is very conversational. The way he writes it is very much somebody with ADHD talking to
Hilarious.
you, which is great. This chapter section is titled, Distracted Sex.
Facts.
Perhaps not surprisingly, those with ADHD got distracted during sex more than those without ADHD, and women got distracted more than men. Those with ADHD say they get distracted sometimes, whereas those without get distracted infrequently, which was one step below sometimes. Women get distracted sometimes, whereas men get distracted infrequently. Once again, we see that both ADHD and gender have an influence. It's interesting that people can get distracted during something as presumably exciting as sex. If so, it's no wonder that people also get distracted during boring meetings. Since everyone has some moments where they get distracted, even during sex, it's important to not make a big thing of it. It happens. Refocus and move on. Most important, do not make the occasional mind wandering out to mean something that it doesn't mean. As in, maybe I don't love my partner. Maybe he or she isn't good enough at sex. Maybe I'm not good enough at sex, etc. And definitely don't jump to any of these conclusions if you sense your partner getting distracted. Right?
Right.
Pretty good advice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Solid advice.
It's good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you or your partner have ADHD and have any issues, possibly sexually, possibly relationship, or you just like a good read about neurodivergence, pick up ADHD After Dark by Ari Tuckman. And as always, we'll have links to the products in our show notes. You can find it on Amazon.
You get to find it all everywhere.
That's right.
Get to find out about all your ADHD. Let's see how long it takes you to read the book. I want to see how long it sits.
Bounce back and forth.
Yeah, I want to see how long it sits on your nightstand.
How many other ones are there?
Before you get to the end.
That's right.
I want to know all the details.
Yeah. Tell us what you like
Give
about
me
it.
everything.
Tell us what it missed.
Right.
682-422-7732. Call. Leave us your critiques, your
All the time.
criticisms, all of it. Okay, so I promised I'd read an email,
You get
right?
the last one.
Okay. All right.
I'm very excited.
You can take a big relax, just zone out.
I'm going to duplicate my Shauna
Okay.
faces.
Okay. Oh. Yeah, I make crazy faces. All right, this email comes to us from Shyla. Thank you, Shyla. If that is your real name, probably
Shyla.
not. Hello. Shyla says, I'm 30 and engaged to my fiance who is 34. We've been together nearly 3 years and engaged for almost a year. I'm writing because I really hope this relationship can be repaired, but I fear that staying longer may mean betraying myself.
Oh, interesting.
Oh.
That's very insightful.
Yeah. She's a good writer,
Yeah.
honestly. Over the past months, several things have surfaced that have deeply shaken my trust. Buckle up.
In the system?
Yep. No, not the system. Stop it. Jeez. Recently, I discovered photos of my debit card front and back
Yikes.
saved in a hidden folder on his phone. In the same photo were photos of his ex-girlfriend.
In the same photos of her debit card?
In the same folder, the same hidden folder.
Yeah, but those could be from
So he's got a
long time ago.
Yeah, but just wait. Yeah, but the hidden is the key. Right?
Hidden. Yeah, okay.
When I confronted him, he was visibly shocked and anxious. Later, he said he had saved my card details to reimburse me for a purchase he wanted to make on my behalf after having trouble transferring money at the time. This explanation doesn't fully add up to me, especially since he never clearly told me he planned to store my card information.
Can you pay people back in the inverse of their debit card?
I don't know. It doesn't make a lot of sense. At one point, he even suggested that I may have sent him the photos myself, which I didn't. So his stories kept shifting.
Why is it in the hidden folder? It's not even in the public folder. This is your hidden folder.
Cause babe,
You sent it to me.
I had to keep them private. People might steal it.
Delete them.
They can still steal it.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just filling in. She didn't say that. But also, about 5 months ago, I found out he had created a fake social media account impersonating the same ex-girlfriend.
For what?
She doesn't say. But yeah, exactly. For what? And then there was an incident where, so he's just cosplaying an ex. That's weird. That's real weird. And then there was an incident where I discovered he had generated a sexually explicit AI video using his ex's face.
This dude's literally running an OnlyFans on his ex.
He said it was curiosity about how the app worked, but I have a hard time buying that.
Curiosity about how the app worked with pictures of your ex-girlfriend.
Well, at least it wasn't his current girlfriend, I guess.
Are there AI video things that'll allow you to do this now?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah. Even in Twitter, Grok itself, people were posting photos of like, here I am on my birthday, and check the fit. And then beneath that, people would comment, hey Grok, take this woman's clothes off, and it would generate a photo of her like with her clothes off or like bending over, sticking her ass out or something like that.
Elon would have dropped that on the world.
They had to change it and make it to where it doesn't do that anymore.
Yeah, because that was like
it was
Altman's big deal. It was like, we're not going to make it like this, da-da-da-da-da. I'd be like, yeah.
Guess what?
They said that about the internet too, and then they found out how much money they're walking away from.
Turns out they lied.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and I had a client the other day who said they were like, so we probably at some point need to talk about I've fallen into like AI porn. And
they fall into AI porn.
That they're like obsessed with it now.
Of AI porn?
Yeah, yeah. And he said part of it is, part of the draw is that it can become almost like a game, like challenging on how can I accurately explain to the AI what I want to see so that it generates actually what I want to see.
So these men are...
So it's kind of gamified even.
So you're telling me these men are increasing their communication skills through prompting?
Well, just with an AI. And he said even the times when it generates something that isn't quite accurate, like her head falls off or something, he's like, it's just funny. So even that's interesting. And I'm like,
that's a thing.
Okay. It's 2026, y'all.
We are living in another world.
Okay. All right. Back to the email. I've now told him I need to pause. Wait, we said, okay, right. Curiosity about how the app works. Okay. I've now told him I need to pause sex because I don't feel emotionally safe or connected. He doesn't physically push the boundary, but he frequently makes jokes or comments expressing frustration about the lack of sex, which makes me feel pressured.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. There are also smaller things that on their own might seem minor, but together add to my unease, such as money that was meant for me not being given to me and him being very protective of his computer. At this point, I don't think I love him anymore. I mean,
easy.
I care deeply about him and don't want to hurt him, but I don't feel peace. I worry that I'm staying out of loyalty, guilt, or hope rather than trust and love. He says he loves me, that he regrets hurting me, and he's promising real change now, but I can't tell if this represents real growth or if he's just saying things because he's afraid of losing me. My question is this. How do I honestly evaluate whether this relationship is repairable before marriage versus accepting that too much trust has been broken? What would real, meaningful change actually look like here? And how long is reasonable to wait before deciding whether to move on?
What does real change look like for that?
Yeah.
I would think change of address, think change of insurance,
change of locks,
change of bank accounts, for sure.
Change my phone number.
That's a slippery slope. If this dude's already that far into AI,
yeah,
that means he's an early adapter. If you're an early adapter, there's probably some compulsion going on there.
Yep.
And those are the guys who Google ends up turning them in.
So there's a lot of compulsion because not only does he have hidden photos,
right?
He created the social media account to impersonate her.
Weird.
And the AI video. So he's all obsessed with an ex. And he's,
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
And he's hiding her banking information. And there's times that he's supposed to have passed money to her. And
she already knows he's taken money.
Right.
At least once.
Right. So to me, like, okay, first of all, so the question, what would change look like?
Yeah.
Let's play the what if game.
Let's play the game.
Let's play the what if.
They're in the chair.
Okay?
They're sitting on the couch and they're asking
what would Dr. Shauna do, right?
What do we do to save this marriage?
Okay. Doctor in quotes. Anyway. So first of all, he would have to identify why he has done these things to begin with. Not curiosity, not that. That is not flying. Nobody believes that.
Not skirting.
Because curiosity didn't make you create a social media account for your ex.
True.
Curiosity did not make you hold on to the photos, right? So we need some bigger explanations. We need something deep, something where, you know, I don't want to admit this about myself. I've realized something about myself, a realization as to why you've done these things, shady, all this kind of stuff, even the money thing, right? And then we also need transparency, proactive transparency, where he goes, here's my phone, here's my laptop, take a look, dive in, see what you think, right? Not her asking for them.
Nope.
Not her demanding them. Proactive, right? I'm going to create transparency with my partner. Okay. Then step 3, big one. Now that I've figured out why I did the things, who I was to begin with, now I have to become a different guy.
You have to change behavior.
Yes.
Okay.
So if I know why I was doing those things before, okay, what are you going to change to not do those things again? Or otherwise, I'm just going to assume you're going to do the same thing again.
Because you will.
Is exactly.
Right.
So if you have, let's say this, because this is at the heart of it. If you have a thought process in your head, if you have a cognitive system that makes it okay that you did all of this weird shit with your ex-girlfriend's image, how does that change? Why does that change? Okay. It has to change for him, not just for her. He has to come to a place of realizing, yeah, that was really bad for me. I really need to change that for my own issues.
Yeah.
My own reasons, right? And then how do I change that? Because what happened, guarantee you, with this guy, with all of these things that he's doing, he has a cognitive system that is justifying his actions. This guy sleeps
Every
at night.
time.
This guy sleeps at night. Okay. So he does not believe he's a monster.
Nope.
He thinks everything he's doing is harmless or fine or justified for some reason. I can take money from her because she has others, or that's what couples do, or blah, blah, I don't know, whatever it is, right?
Whatever justification that goes through his mind.
So you have to go in there, basically, you have to go like locate all these little lines of code that have created the problem and delete them and rewrite them.
And that's going to take time.
Yes.
A lot of time.
As well as positive regard, which she's lost for this guy.
Yeah.
That is the gas that fuels the tank for change.
Yeah.
If she does not have, she's lost that feeling. She's lost that love and feeling. So where are we going to go? Oh, she's going to wait around with an empty cup for him to figure all this out?
Absolutely not.
No, it's not going to happen.
Absolutely not.
The greatest likelihood is that he's going to continue to no big deal this until then the relationship dissolves.
I would argue to say he's already doing that. The relationship, in my opinion, has already resolved.
Yeah. I don't know what you're hanging on to at this point.
Yeah.
Other than just the sunk cost fallacy of I've spent so much time and done so much with this person.
You're going to be more mad in a year that you spent another year than you would spending a year regretting not being with the person.
You're going to look back on this moment and go, I'm an idiot. I should have left then. I should have seen the writing on the wall, gotten out. So to me, like there's a lot here, a lot of the feelings gone, the time that it would take, the prognosis is low. Also, bring up the concept of therapy.
Definitely bring up the concept of therapy.
If he just pushes back on that, you know what you need to know.
Yep.
Right? Confusion
He's not interested.
is an answer. Confusion is an answer.
Yeah.
She's in a confused place about what to do here. Tell you what, my husband has never made me feel confused about my relationship with him. Never made me, not a day in my life have I questioned if I'm safe with him. Does he love me? Where are we going? What are we doing? Confusion is itself an answer. If someone that you are attached to makes you feel confused, especially unsafe about your relationship, that is your answer.
Right. If they're not doing what they need to do to actively make you feel secure,
yes,
they're actively making you feel insecure.
Yeah.
That's what they're choosing.
And sometimes blaming you for it. And I wouldn't be surprised if that didn't happen too.
He took the money because he resents her.
You're just insecure.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
It is a very passive aggressive thing, isn't it?
She probably makes more than he does.
All right. Well, geez, Louise, that went fast. All right. Big thanks to all of our submissions today. Love it. If you have any questions or stories you'd like to share on the show, please email us at hello@betweensessionspodcast.com or hit up the 24/7 hotline at 682-422-7732. That's 682-422-7732. Please give us a subscribe, like, and follow on all platforms. Check out our website to get on the mailing list and stay updated on any local special events. Big thanks, as always, to our sponsors, Ritual Hair Co. in Dallas, and Private Room Supplements for all your sexual wellness needs. I'll see you next session. All right, now get out.